whenever. And then I was going to paint that bedroom, because that's the only room in the house that has not been painted ever since we moved in.
Really?
And I really want to get it done, before they move all their stuff in there.
Right.
So I'd still like to do that. Then Austin and Chris are coming Thursday evening.
Yeah, I heard about that. You know how I heard?
No.
From my mom, from Daniel.
Wait, those two are like two peas in a pod.
I know.
They can't, he can't keep his mouth shut about anything. Not that I care.
Right.
That you know something.
I know.
But I don't like her knowing stuff.
I know. And like I had, when she texted me what you had said, I was going to ask you, but then I didn't want to start shit with you guys, so I asked Sherry and Adam, and I went over and helped Sherry that day, as a matter of fact.
But what's the big deal anyway?
And I let them both know, and I'll let you know that if I ever ask weird questions like that, it's not because I'm nosy, because I have plenty to keep me occupied. It's because there's a reason, and that's what I was like, by any chance is your dad coming to visit? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, and is he staying at your mom's? And he's like, yeah. I was like, you want to know how I know this? And told him, and he's like, neato.
Well, and who cares?
Right. Well, and that's,
what is the big freaking deal?
I think with both of them, they like to brag about what they know. Like, I know this, you don't.
Well, some people think it's weird that Austin and I get along.
Yeah.
And are friends and have been throughout all the years. But times I've gone out there when the kids were little and I escorted them out there, I stayed with his parents.
Right.
Which he actually lived in the basement of their house at that time. And he's come out here, the times he came out here, he stayed with Mom and Bill.
Right. Yeah, it's good that you guys have gotten along like that.
And I love Chris. She's just the nicest, sweetest lady. But, it's like, let's make a big old thing about it.
Right.
They're my friends. And they're my, I think my kids have appreciated that we get along.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah. Trust me, that's handy. Yeah, my mom had texted me and she said, Daniel came in and he said to her that he came in the day before, but she wasn't working. She's like, yeah.
Well, so was he going to find her or what?
Apparently he was like, so I waited until today to come in and because I need a trash can. She's like, okay.
Well, go find one, buy it.
And he's like, because we're going to put all the kids' toys in it. And she said, why? He said, because Adam's dad's coming to visit, and then we're going to put all the kids' toys in it so we can make room, and then after, then I can put my leaves in it or something. She's like, okay.
No, and that's not even the thing. Those toys that were sitting on the floor in there are the ones that the kids went through. And then I didn't have time to deal with them before this whole thing happened with Barbara.
Right.
So they stayed on the floor in there. And I still needed to sort through them because I was going to keep some of them.
Right.
Some of them we had 3 piles. Keep, keep, give away, and toy sale.
Right.
So those were the 3 stacks. Well, he decided that he made it his mission to do something with those toys. And he wanted to know if I wanted him to go buy a box to put them in. And I said, no, I have boxes in the garage.
Right.
I don't, I've got to go through them, this and that. Well, the next thing I know, he's coming in with this great big toad that, and he puts all the toys in it. Well, I was at work, I think. He did all that shit, shoved it in the closet, which I don't even know how he got it in there, because it won't fit this way, it's too big. So you have to stand it on its end, and then sets the toy box on top of that. Anyway, and then he's like, well, you owe me $30 for that. box.
Where's this trash can that he bought?
It was a storage box, tote.
Well, he bought a trash can there.
Well, he didn't bring a trash can. He just brought that tote. And so then we get in this big brouhaha about just a bunch of shit. And I told him to don't buy me any more shit that I can't afford right now.
Right.
And,
yeah.
And I don't know, he says, well, I'll just take it back. He says, you want me to dump all those toys out? So I just went in there and maneuvered that thing out of the closet and dumped them all back on the floor. Took his box in the living room and said, you want me to load it in your truck for you?
Right, sissy. Oh, dirty.
Anyway, so it's just, it's like these two people. Mm-hmm. There's this part here I do care and love, care about and love, because he's, he can be very helpful and generous and nice, nice, all that. But then there's this side that he's like a
horrible
demon from hell.
Right.
Yeah, so that's the story on the box. I didn't even want the damn thing. And I didn't want him to do anything with the toys.
Right.
I was dealing with it.
Especially if he's going to be such a butt about it.
And so,
like, you owe me.
Yeah, you owe me $30. Well, because we were into a argument over who knows what. I can't even remember what they're about anymore. It's like it's so often that
right.
I don't even remember. But anyhow, yeah, I owed him $30 for the box.
Well, like a couple of days before that, he had gone in there and was talking to her and was asking a bunch of questions about the kids. And aren't the kids going to do any sports this year? And she was offering her part of it, when she was telling me. I was like, why? Why did you tell him anything? Why didn't you just say, hey,
you don't know,
mind your own business, and you don't know anyway? And no, they're not so far. But she was like, oh yeah, I think they are. I think Jagger's doing track or something. And he was like, oh, that's already started.
Oh, well, he told me about that. Yeah, the cross country apparently is already going on. But he told me that your mom told him, well, I had my kids in all these sports when they were growing up. And I told him, I said, first of all, I don't even remember that.
No.
I know that Sadie was in band and did cheerleading. I don't recall them being in all kinds of sports. And I said, and Mary's a liar.
Yeah, and Chance never made it to high school. So, well, they didn't have sports in middle school or junior high then.
I said, if they did anything, it was like PP stuff.
Right.
And they were a lot older. It wasn't like...
like T-ball.
She said she had them in all the sports. I said, well, whatever. I remember that.
Yeah, and she told me that he was like, well, I think the kids should be involved in as many sports as possible. It's good for them, and blah, blah, blah. It's like, yeah, you didn't raise your kids, so just step back. You don't know anything about parenting.
Yep.
Especially nowadays.
Well, those two would make a good couple.
Yeah, as long as they're away.
Yeah, move somewhere else.
They actually would. But it would be so much turmoil.
Well, hopefully they kill each other.
Right. They would just...
That's terrible.
They would stay home and just keep the shit going all the time.
Yeah.
Just, it would be always about money and lying and who's better and done more or worse, depending on the topic. My back hurts worse, or mine's worse than yours. He had said something to her about being disabled, and then she said something to him about, well, then you shouldn't be carrying whatever. She saw him carrying it one time when he was in there. Like, she hasn't even to talk.
Yeah, I know. That's the thing. He'll complain about how much this hurts and that hurts. And no doubt it probably does. But don't aggravate it by cutting trees and loading 3 trailerfuls of branches and
picking up rocks and... running and jumping over shit when you're pissed. Oh, that's my story. That's what I see. Like, oh, you can't be like barely walking around one day and then being pissed off later on in the afternoon